Science UDS. Prof, thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Fena. Good morning to. Um, I'm happy to be with you this morning.
And you read a lot of political literature on perhaps, have you seen any arrangement where after losing an election, you go and elect the flag bearer before going to elect your executives? Is that arrangement usual?
Well, it depends on it's clearly it's unusual, at least in the Ghanaian political history. I have never seen this before, to the best of my knowledge, but I stand corrected. But clearly, this is like putting the cat before the horse, right? Uh, this is Bawumia's.
Okay, Prof, we're having difficulties with your line. I'm not sure. Are you using any device aside your phone?
No, I'm on the phone
Okay. Uh,
right now.
Still, we haven't breaks. Let's call you back. So let's call Prof back so we can hear Prof clearly on this matter. He says when he goes through the political history of Ghana, he's not seen this kind of arrangement ever. Eseb. So you said them. I said
Yes.
I want to understand.
Prophet Prince Brown, or see in his prophetic element, Prince Brown explained that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is fit for the position of a finance minister, and that when he serves in that capacity, the whole world will applaud him, owing to the massive contribution he will make in the financial sector.
Okay.
The star on Bawumia is not for the presidency, and he cannot become the president. To save his credibility and competence, he must listen and heed to this prophecy. And the prophet Brown, Prince Brown, our general overseer, Edema, a Shama Fire and Miracle Ministry, and this as no atubia or send a dium. I mean, maybe I know deal or something die.
Prof, let's try again, and I hope this time is better. Prof, you were explaining, you were responding to my very first question on whether this is usual.
Yeah, this is unusual as far as I know or I'm aware of the history of internal party elections. I don't think this has ever happened before. But I was just saying that this has to do with the internal party democratic process, right? So, and this is often controlled by the national or the NEC. So, and the present NEC and the whole party executive all the way down to the polling station, I describe them as Bawumia's political machine. So this is the same grassroots structures and NEC that voted massively for Bawumia. So they are actually, they favor Bawumia. And as far as the NEC is concerned, the NEC is basically trying to manipulate the internal democratic process to favor Bawumia, and that's what political machines are supposed to do.
That this is intended to favor Bawumia.
Oh, that is no doubt about that. Because is there any well-founded reason for reversing the process? You are basically trying to rather for people to vote for the presidential candidate before you decide who is even qualified to do that voting. So it's totally absurd, but like I said, when you look at it from a political strategy perspective, being Bawumia's political machine, the NEC, an elite group of people working to make sure that Bawumia is maintained as the presidential candidate for 2028. They are basically doing the work that a political machine is supposed to do.
Wow. But that is weird because how does that favor them? Because at this point, first they could have said that, okay, because of President Akufo-Addo and the kind of influence he held, they couldn't have disagreed with Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia at the time. The party has lost power. President Akufo-Addo's power has dwindled. Even Bawumia's influence has also dwindled largely, to a large extent. They will be seeking re-election themselves. So how does falling on Dr. Bawumia, who seems not so popular within the party now, how they're trying to push his ambitions help them, because they will also be seeking for re-election. And if they don't get this right, the party will kick all of them out.
Oh, by the time they will kick them out, they would have done their job as a political machine that is working efficiently to make sure that Bawumia is the presidential candidate of the party. Yes, you may say that Bawumia is unpopular across the party and even across the country. But as far as the present executives, grassroots executives and the NEC are concerned, Bawumia is their favorite. I mean, these are the people who work to make sure that Bawumia was made their presidential candidate. They are his friends. They worked with him throughout the campaign. Their campaign structures are still on the ground. So clearly, if they want to do this election now, Bawumia is de facto the 2028 presidential candidate. The others who contest have no chance. As far as I can see things, based on the fact that these old structures, campaign structures that have been put in place during the internal elections and the national elections, these are all structures that are favorable to Bawumia's candidature. So there's nothing that has shown that these structures have changed. And normally they will change when there is this internal elections before the presidential elections to select the presidential candidate. But they have inverted the process. So that means these structures are still Bawumia's political machine, and they will continue to work in his favor, whether he's popular or not.
You're saying that the people who are in place currently only has one task: to always ensure that Dr. Bawumia is favored in any contest.
Yes, this is what they are doing. And it's clear by this unusual move, very strange, I mean, to start to elect the presidential candidate first before you even decide the electoral college that is supposed to elect that candidate. I mean, it's just clear that they are working to, this is rigged in favor of their preferred candidate. And, before it means that Nana Akufo-Addo, despite his damaged brand, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia's hold on the party is still in place. And this would have changed if the elections or the grassroots elections, the executive elections had taken place before the election of the presidential candidate. But they are making sure that that doesn't happen. And when they do this, it means that they can still have the chance of still maintaining themselves in these executive positions.
But what are the implications for the party if they go ahead and do that? Because you're talking about a flag-bearership race that includes somebody like Mr. Kennedy Ohini Japan. Will that not deepen the rift within the party and perhaps make the unity they are looking for much more difficult?
Yeah, but they would rather think that it's better to get the presidential candidate, and probably by their calculation, if they get the presidential candidate first, it will limit the divisive politics that normally accompany these internal democratic processes. So they can give a reason that this is rather a move to address that threat of division, acrimony that normally accompanies these internal democratic elections to select the grassroots representatives who will now be the electoral college. So they may be arguing along those lines, but clearly it is never done before. So the only plausible reason is that this is about them, and this shows that the establishment hasn't changed, and it is not ready to change, despite this humiliating defeat. And they will end up rather worsening the situation. And bear in mind that this defeat is like a defeat that threatens the very existence of the party. And so they are just trying to, re-strategize, and they think that this is a strategy, but it can actually work against them, because who in the normal senses will do this? You even allow the electoral college that is supposed to vote for the presidential candidate, to select the presidential candidate, to be chosen first. You rather choose to use the old electoral college and the old party structures and executives who by the 2024 election shows that they were incompetent. They were not able to deliver the vote. And the purpose of the grassroots structures, the internal democratic process, is to select people who can win. You don't want to keep the same old people who fail to win and fail abysmally. But this is about them. I mean, it's not about the interest of the party. It's about this establishment. And it shows that actually Bawumia and Akufo-Addo really have a strong influence on this party, and they are not ready at any time to give that up.
Now, this is Mr. Boakye Jako's analysis. Now, he says that if you understand campaigns very well, you will not elect a flag bearer at this time. There are 88,917 human settlements in Ghana and so. If you elect a flag bearer and expect them to campaign in all these communities, it will take them 10 years to achieve that. But if you have 210,000 executives from polling stations, they can successfully campaign in these communities within a week if 2 executives are assigned to each community. Then it continues. First and foremost, we sell the party to the people before the flag bearer even comes in. There's no way one person can win an election for any political party. That's why we begin from the polling stations. I think what he's cautioning against is that if this structure is erected, there's a possibility that it will be up to the flag bearer to convince the Ghanaian, and the party structures will not necessarily be behind the flag bearer. Is that the danger you see?
Yeah, I think he has a point there. But the point is pointless to these people. I think the main point I'm making is that all these well-founded fears that this can actually hurt the chances of the party are not taken on board. This is the same old politics that led to this massive defeat. But it doesn't look like they're interested in addressing the root cause of their defeat in 2024. They are still dug in, and with Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, they are dug in with the NEC, which is an elite group of people managing the party, which also is very supportive of Bawumia and then Akufo-Addo, because these were people who worked with. So what this party official, Boakye Jako is saying is true. But is anybody listening? I don't think anybody is listening. So which also means that the party is actually, does not know what it is doing. It is in a complete disarray, and they are just trying to throw in anything, hoping that it will work. And the more they do that, the more mistakes they make. And better for Ghana, because they just mess up the country. And if they don't get organized, it means that NDC will still win the 2028 elections, which is good for the country.
You're saying, Doc, Prof, are you suggesting that disorganized MPP is good for Ghana?
But if it's the same MPP that took us almost to a point that this country was beginning to almost an implosion proportion of economic crisis. Politically, the country was almost democracy has reversed to almost autocracy, as I've been saying. And for that matter, people were completely, disgruntled, and many people were, there was tension all over the country, if you remember. And yet these people were saying that there was nothing wrong. So one would have thought that they would change the guard. And if they change the guard, then you have a new MPP. That can be a party of the Kufuors and the previous leaders who were really in support of democracy, and they were promoting democracy. But if it is the party of Bawumia and then Akufo-Addo, then they should stay away. I mean, the more mistakes they make, the better. For that one, I will say anytime, if they allow the internal processes to work, democratic processes to work, we are likely to have a new MPP, a new MPP that is closer to the Kufuors and the rest MPP. That was a party that was promoting democracy, that was interested in diversity, listening government, and promoting economic development. And then we can say, yeah, we need a strong opposition or minority party that can, keep the NDC on its hold its legs to fire. But if it's this old one, the Bawumia Akufo-Addo's MPP, then they should continue to dwindle, and probably we may not have a strong opposition party.
I see. Prof, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us. One of the things we'd like to take your thoughts on, and perhaps we'll try and see if we can put this on our agenda tomorrow, is this matter of President Mahama suggesting that the group of MMDCs that is appointed currently may be the last ones we see that are appointed, that the next cohort will have to be elected. So we would like to speak to you on this, but perhaps tomorrow. So, but thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks for having me.
Well, so Professor JASPER ABEMBIA AYELAZUNO, who is Associate Professor Political Science at UDS.